I'm just feeling it.
He's enamored.
Welcome to Footnotes, a behind-the-scenes look at what we value and why it matters here at Foothill Church in Glendora, California. My name is Ethan Bailey, one of the ministers on staff, and I am one of your co-hosts. Your other co-host, Erica Hussey. Hello, Erica.
Hey.
We are joined by a familiar voice to Footnotes, and a familiar face, Ike Graham. Hey, Ike.
Hey, good to see you, church. I guess I don't hear you. Obviously good to hear you, but hey, it's good to talk to you one way.
There it is.
You'll see them on Sunday. Now, Erica, I mentioned both a familiar voice, makes sense, but why did I say familiar face?
Yes, we are live. No, we're not live. We are recording this for you to view and listen at the same time. Crazy how that happens. So if you want to listen, we understand. We understand you just want to listen. But if you want to watch this, you can do that as well.
Yeah, we are here for you to watch us on YouTube.
I'm sure this is already riveting.
Yeah, you're probably all bought in.
Yeah.
You've
Just
already
at
probably
the edge
hit
of
up the
your seats.
thumbs up and everything, ready to go.
You've left 20 comments already.
Yeah, already.
Hey, I don't want to go without mentioning the man with the cans on. Those are headphones, by the way. The one and only Bryce Ronquillo. Hey, Bryce.
What's up, guys?
So Bryce is helping edit and record Footnotes for us each episode. We're super grateful for him. So
Even
thanks,
with
Bryce.
His leg in a cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, Vietnam was such a senseless war. Thank you. Thanks, Bryce, for being here.
Yeah. Also happened from playing basketball at our men's basketball night on Sunday nights.
Figured it was one of those two.
Shameless plug, Christian community, if you're interested in joining those.
Yes.
Sunday nights.
All skills welcome.
Yeah. Well, hey, Ike, as Stephen left to go plant a church, he left us to go plant a church. There's actually a legal battle people didn't realize. Stephen was trying to take Footnotes with him.
Oh, yeah.
And after a long legal battle, the courts ruled in our favor, thankfully.
Yeah. There's a little bit of background work that had to be done.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And thankfully, Pastor Chris used to be a lawyer, so that came in handy.
Thankful to him and John White for doing a lot of that paperwork and...
Absolutely. So the courts ruled, though, that Foothill Church gets to keep Footnotes.
Yeah.
Hey.
And
we can praise God for that, guys.
if Stephen decides to start another podcast, he can start his own with a different name.
King Notes.
Yeah, King Notes.
The King's Notes.
The King's Notes.
The
Yeah.
King's Notes.
But that left a void. We needed to find a host for Footnotes. Yeah. And so the communications department, both Eric and I, we were tasked with finding a new host. And so, after a lengthy process, a lot of auditions, even some sample episodes recorded amongst the staff that we will never release. You will never hear those.
No, we had to burn some of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tears. A lot of people really had their hopes and threw their hat in the ring. And it's like, oh, we're friends. It was tough, but here we are.
Here we are. We decided, though, that just Eric and I would just do it.
Yeah.
So
It's your guardian house.
It was a big ruse, really. We knew we were going to host.
It was just part of the process. We just had to do it. We are ready to host. However, we're not ready to host because we actually have to go through a gauntlet. I think actually the elder board demanded.
Yeah. Trial by fire is what they said.
You put us through a gauntlet, and we believe as hosts, we should first be hosted. And so that's why we asked you to come on. You've hosted Footnotes a few times.
Yeah.
And so we would love for you to take us through that process.
It is with great joy and humility, but I would say joy that I get to run you guys through the gauntlet.
Wonderful.
So we all work together. They're on our team. Erica is the digital of... She's the digital of all directors.
You know what? I like that better.
As digital, yeah. So Erica is the director of digital communications.
That I am.
I think that's a pretty tighter title than we've had when you first started.
Yes. Well, it was paired with my old title, so I think it was 3 lines long before.
Yeah. And Ethan is the Minister of Communications or Connections Minister. I like Minister of Communications.
You said Connections Minister. It's just Communications.
Wesley Hall is the Connections
did I say
Minister.
Connections?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The first time, though, you said Minister of Communications. Nailed it there.
Yeah.
But then you said Connections Minister. But I am the Communications Minister.
Ike is our boss. He is in charge of us.
He does know our role.
It's just hard not to think about Wesley. He's just a strong personality too.
He's a gem. So Ike, without further ado, though, we relinquish our hosting duties that we literally just acquired this morning.
Yes.
At the start of this episode. Over to you. But first, a quick little break.
Hey, I wanted to let you know that in a couple weeks, October 2nd, we'll be meeting for prayer night. Hey, if you've never been to one of these before, prayer night is an incredible opportunity to gather with God's people, to worship Jesus and ultimately humble ourselves before God in prayer and ask Him to forgive us and to heal our land. So I have loved these nights. It's been an incredible opportunity to gather with friends and people within the church. I've been overwhelmed at times by the presence of God and the ability to worship together and present my requests to God and to other people and be prayed over and to pray over others. So I want to encourage you to come October 2nd, 5 p.m. at our Baseline campus. The service will last a little over an hour. And hey, if you have kids, bring them too. Foothill Kids has an incredible program planned for them as well. You can find more information at foothill.church. See you there.
Well, like I said, it is with great joy that I get to let everybody else get to know you as I know you guys. It is wonderful working with you guys. You guys are an incredible team. I tell you guys that in the meetings. You complement each other with your skills and your minds. And I think for a long time, a lot of times when people come to Foothill, they say, oh, we love this, we love this. And one of the things that frankly we wanted to grow in was just how we engage people and communicate with people in the digital world, which is why Erica has been brought up. But Ethan, you've done some great work for a long time. I was thinking of some old jokes about shirts, and maybe we'll talk about that later.
We probably will.
Yeah, but I think the sad thing I will just say about communications for Ethan, we've had like some amazing banners, amazing artwork, and then a couple months later, it's like, hey, hello, here's some new artwork that needs to be done. And I know just from doing music, and sometimes you feel like you pour your heart into something, and it's like a week later, do it again. I just want to edify you in front of this digital audio audience. You do great work. And Erica, I've loved your mind, but also you're a lot of fun,
Glad to hear that.
And but I think we like to we work really hard, but we also have a lot of fun, and so I think it's having that balance and tension is great. So, but yeah, it's really sad not to have Stephen here. It's really sad. In my mind, I thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of think through of what actually happened to Stephen. So I'm gonna let you guys vote on this.
Okay.
So the reason Stephen is actually not here anymore is either A, he was suckered into eating an enchanted poison burrito.
Okay.
Or B, he tried to bench press South Korea and failed.
And so it's one or the other, not
one or the
So
other.
sorry, in the burrito situation, the result was that
It was
he's just no longer able to host.
Snow White, yeah, he's out.
Oh, in both situations, he's just out.
He's out. He's gone. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So Stephen, he was suckered into eating an enchanted poison burrito, or two, he tried to bench press South Korea. And
I have my answer. For sure the burrito. I mean,
Oh, see, I was going bench press.
yeah. Like a connection to the
I just
motherland.
feel like knowing him, and especially now having seen Owen in action, I feel like that's the way it would have
have
gone.
you seen Owen eat a burrito though too? I mean, we all have.
No, but I have seen photos of him trying to eat a bug.
Yeah.
So
when
I
now you
could see
know
that
now
too.
you know how to pray for Stephen.
Yeah.
Just restraint and avoiding burritos.
Yeah.
Restraint.
We miss you, Stephen, but thank you for just building this thing from
Absolutely.
the ground up.
Thanks, man.
Well, we'd love just to get to know you guys.
Yeah.
First and foremost. So let's start with some people have known Ethan a little bit longer. So let's start with we'll go ladies
Yeah,
first.
let's do
Erica, where'd you grow up? Are you a forever Glendorian?
I am not, and when people ask me this question, it's a little complicated because I have now lived my most of my life in Southern California, but it was a little bit separated. So was born and spent the first 2 years of my life in Argentina.
Wow, I bet nobody knew that.
I bet nobody knew that.
Except for like
I knew that.
a key Argentinian group in the church.
That are my family.
Yeah,
They're my
I was
family.
gonna say.
And then family moved to the Los Angeles area when I was about 2 years old. Lived here for about 7 years, then moved to, of all places, Oklahoma. And we were there for 4 years, and then spent the last 10 years of my upbringing in Washington State, and then made my way back down here.
So what brought you back here?
School. So my sister and I transferred into APU, and it was really just a gateway to make it to Foothill. So
Awesome.
yeah, grateful for that.
So now you're working obviously in this area, but some people might have seen you working in other areas. You've done great work.
Yep.
Where would people have connected with you before at Foothill?
Yeah, I came from a role in family ministry. So I was the family ministry coordinator. Did that for about 2.5 years. And and truthfully have
Now, just clear that's kids
and students.
and students.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of great things going on there.
Sunday morning stuff, Wednesday night stuff, working with Meg, Whit, and Brian. Love those guys. My heart is with Family Men forever. Started in Family Men even before I was at Foothill. Have been in Family Men for like either working or volunteering since I was like 15 or 16. So it's most of what I know.
Yeah, and you also had done some work maybe in web.
Yeah, so just out of college, was working a few different jobs, but one of those was with Matt Davis.
Matt Davis.
Hey, Matt.
Shout out to Matt.
Matt, we love you.
And he has a great company that does web development. And so I was able to work for him as his projects manager. And he taught me a few skills, and grateful for him and in teaching me that. So
that's just wonderful about the church, though. I love how that kind of comes together. Matt, while also being an amazing cyclist, is also, but also he's really good, with his work, and that for him to impart that to you, and now we get to have you bless the church with that, and I'm really excited about that. Ethan, how old are you when you left Argentina?
I don't even know what to respond.
Ethan, you're a little bit more
real name
local,
is
right?
I grew up in Chino, so just about 20-25 minutes south from where we're at in Glendora. And then, grew up in Chino, studied graphic design at APU. So that brought me out to this area. But it wasn't actually until like my senior year at APU, that I was kind of at the point I was like, I'm going to look for a different church. And then my roommate at the time, was attending Foothill. So I was fully prepared to like church shop, which I always hated that idea.
Yeah, totally.
And by God's grace, I was one and done. I went to Foothill. I was like, I love this, and kept attending. Attended for a couple years, and then the job opportunity to come on as communications manager at the time opened up, and so I applied and I got it. And 6 years later, here I am.
I wish I could go back in time, because I remember I was serving in music at the time. I was doing like group stuff, and I'd see you always back there like doing lyrics, and you have such a strong, great personality, but you were just so chill.
I was quiet. Yeah.
You're just quiet.
I mean, I'm pretty reserved typically until like I'm in a comfortable space or a lot of people know me.
But there's a fierce humor that's very enjoyable.
I'll pierce through with my humor for sure. One of my earliest memories of you, Ike, just talking on that, was when I first saw you. I'm just again I'm a congregant. I'm either sitting in or I was like running lyrics in the back. You came on stage and to like I think come out of a worship song, and you went to kind of sing along or something. I don't know if it wasn't in your key or your voice cracked a little bit, but it just didn't sound that good. Yeah. And I was like, this guy can't sing. And then I realized later, like, oh no, he's like a legit worship leader and can sing, has a great voice.
Probably one of those random passionate ad libs, like, oh Lord.
Yeah, I think it kind of was. You're like down, like you're like praying or something. And you're like, hey, let's sing this again. And then you try to help cue in, but
slick transitions. Yeah.
That's
That's cool to hear how it was actually through a roommate you found Foothill. Erica, how did you find Foothill? So you came to APU.
Yeah. My family, who I mentioned before, yes, Anne, love her. If you know her, you also love her, I'm sure. She has been attending for about 10 years here at Foothill. And when we were moving to the area, she said, hey, you have to come check out my church. You don't have to love it, but you will. Those were the exact words, because I've hung on to those. And similar situation where it was the first weekend that we were...
Annie
Chasso, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anne also has served in the office, like behind the scenes for a long time. Yeah. What a blessing you've been, Anne. We love you.
Yeah. And a similar situation where my sister and I attended one Sunday, and there was just a few key things that were like, yep, we're sold. And the next Sunday, I was like, hey, can you connect me with the students minister? I want to start serving. And I think like that week started serving in the youth group. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's one thing I like about Foothill is that a lot of us who are on staff, I was kind of imported a bit, and I came in, but immediately I started serving in other ways. What are some ways that you guys served before or are serving now even that are different from your jobs? Because your jobs are very kind of like office, online environment. How do you guys like to serve?
Yeah, I mean, I started doing lyrics, and I think that was kind of a gateway. After I started working at Foothill, I was able to even start playing bass. So I'm technically on the worship team. However, I can't tell you the last time I played bass. It's just hard to kind of get around to on Sundays.
You had a pretty busy season, so we were kind of like, let's just give Ethan.
And I even was like, yeah, please, like let's excuse this. But I remember I recently even got a request, and I'm like actually out of town that day. So the one time a year. But anyways, I still sort of on the worship team. Sometimes I'll fill in where I can, but I primarily am serving with our junior high boys, with Foothill students. And so that's been a lot of fun. Been doing that since August 2020. And so, yeah, it's been a lot of fun getting connected with those kids and building those relationships. But even just at prior churches I've gone to, like same, I was, involved in youth group, straight out of the gate. And big reason is my brother was my youth pastor. And so at a young age, I was able to kind of get inside scoop and be able to like help lead in that capacity. And so it's just a huge passion of mine of like, and I have a heart for kind of that age group.
Yeah, I've seen your heart. And even just like my son, Gabe, he's in junior high, and just know that I've just heard your thoughtfulness, like, hey, we talked about this. I saw Gabe think about this and just passing that on. So yeah, I appreciate your heart.
For sure.
Erica, I know I've seen you singing. My kids loved singing. I want to be thankful. And like you and your sister.
Yes.
Who apparently has a great singing voice, but also a funny, not good singing voice.
Yes.
Which she tries to do. Which, Debbie, we want to hear it. But your sister, Debbie, I know you guys have served that way, but so tell me more about that, serving in the church.
Yeah. So like I said, started serving initially with students, and quickly got involved in kids ministry too. And of course that developed into a full-time position here. More recently, what I've loved to do is sing in Foothill Kids with the hand motions. I love that stuff. Eat it right up. And I love that the kids get into it. So you can catch me probably every other Sunday in Foothill Kids leading worship there. And more recently, I've been able to step in and be a high school girls leader in the youth group. And I'm really excited for that.
That's great. That's really good.
Yeah.
So we get to know you a little bit. Let's just hear one funny story of a fail. Do we have any good fails in the room here? An embarrassing moment.
Yeah. I don't know if this is as embarrassing for me as it is for the other person. Maybe this is a good story to show how to get out of an embarrassing moment and pin it on the person that you're talking to. But it's actually Ike, your wife, Jess Graham. I remember back in the day, it was early on, maybe a year or two in, we're all kind of hanging out, probably at some like staff and spouse function, and the topic of shirts came up, and so we're all just talking. Some people are saying, "Oh, I really liked that one with the F, and established in 1930," or whatever. People are sharing some things, and then Jess, she goes like, "Oh, you know what one I hated the most?" She's like, the tan growth group shirt with the big orange writing that says growth groups on it. And so for those that don't know, like I've been the one designing most of the shirts since 2016. And I had to tell her, I'm like, hey, Jess, by the way, I totally agree with you, but I do want you to know that I designed that shirt. And I want you to know now, rather than like realize like a week later, like, oh my gosh, I just totally dogged on Ethan's design work. And so I assume she's grateful for that. She for sure was a little embarrassed at the time, but honestly, Jess, I agree that was not a good shirt. And there was even some color choices that were out of my hands. But it's all good.
Difficult.
So
deciding colors.
Yeah, and that's been a fun learning curve throughout the 6 years.
That's hilarious.
I'm continuing to learn
awesome.
is how to take that undirected feedback.
One of my favorite stories to tell is actually how I met Jessica. She came halfway in through 8th grade years. We met like in junior high, and I was making a joke in front of a whole class, said a mean joke at somebody's expense. Everybody was laughing. My dream had come true. The whole class is laughing. I'm kind of like panning across the room with my eyes, like and taking it all in. And she's just like looking at me. She goes, "That's stupid." I was like, "Who is that?"
Yeah, you got to win her over, man.
I know. I was like,
You got to work.
strong mind, but she spoke her mind. But yeah. That's hilarious. That's a good story.
I really want to know if anyone has that T-shirt still.
Yeah, if anyone
does Jess still have that T-shirt?
Probably not.
And if
Probably
she does,
not.
she should wear it on
I
Sunday.
think New Unto Others has the shirt.
Yeah,
Yes,
probably some.
yes.
But if someone
A
does
large
have
collection.
it, DM us at Foothill Church.
Yes.
We'd love to
Somewhere,
see it.
somebody at a gym is wearing a shirt at 6 a.m. promoting
Yeah,
growth groups
for
in
sure.
brown and orange.
Yeah. Goodness.
Erica,
great.
any funny stories, awkward moments?
Oh, yeah. The one that just always comes to mind is I think I was in 5th grade. And again, this has still stuck with me. So we had just come in from recess and, we had our like desks in 4s. And the boy sitting next to me, I mean, he was like the cutie of the class. I think we all had a crush on him. And it had been a warm one that day, and he came in and he was just red in the face, sweat dripping. I think they were playing flag football or something. I don't know. And in my brain, I was like, he just looked like sweaty and gross. And I wanted to say in my brain, like, you look really sweaty, but I was like, that sounds mean. And so the way it came out was, you look really hot.
Oh, there you go.
Oh
Yep.
man. And
A
in
confident
that
woman.
moment,
Yeah.
I felt just the blood drained from my face, and it could have ended there, and it didn't, because he then stood on his chair and said to the whole class, everyone, Erica just said I'm hot. And I was like mortified because he was, and shout out to him, but that's not what I meant.
So the lesson here, it's been like 105 on Sundays.
Yeah.
It's been pretty hot the last couple weeks.
It has.
If you guys ever felt like that Erica was standoffish on a really hot day, there might be a little bit of PTSD.
Yeah. Just
She's
not
a
talking to
very
anyone.
warm
If I'm
person.
not saying anything,
Yeah.
it's because I'm like, I have to make sure I'm saying the right thing. Yeah.
Well, we've had a lot to get to know you, but I still got one more fun little quiz
Okay.
I just got to do right now. I just thought of this morning. First of all, I'm going to call this the Battle of Legacies. So,
Wow.
Ooh.
Erica, the Argentinian, and I know you totally are American. Let's
Yes.
just
No,
clear
I-
this.
yeah,
But
yeah.
for the sake of the game, Ethan and a lot of his posts always
Should
have
I go
like
get the flag that's on my desk?
I have a 9-foot American flag at home.
I know.
Okay,
So I kind of think it was like Ethan the American, Erica the Argentinian.
Okay.
But I kind of just want to find out like who's more like with their national pride, so to speak. So,
right.
no, so this is
This is
worth
not going to go well.
1 point.
I apologize already to my whole family.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
so sorry.
Yeah, but and just give me a little bit of grace here in case this seems unfair to certain cultures. But here we go. Number 1 for 5 points, Erica. To find out how Argentinian are you? Do you have a cousin named Florencia, Maria, or Valentina?
No.
How about Augustina?
No.
Sorry, no 5 points. Moving on.
Okay.
Ethan, for America, have you ever played Little League Baseball?
No, but my brother has, and I've been hit in the head by one.
Okay,
Okay, I've also been hit in the head by a baseball.
I'll give you a
so-
second chance for this first one.
Okay.
Was Ronald Reagan your coach?
Again, no, but
Okay.
as a
Wait,
family,
I have a
as a
Ronald
family,
Reagan story.
we've been to the Reagan Library, and I got a Ronald Reagan action figure, and he talks. So again,
Ronald Reagan asked out my
Wow.
great grandma.
okay, wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I was about to ask when, but that's a very complex.
Yeah.
In his later years.
No,
No.
that's a story for another day.
Okay,
but-
well, I look forward to that story.
Yeah.
I look forward to that story.
Yeah.
That's wow. I opened up some wonderful things here.
Yeah. I'll respect whoever you give the points to on that one. Or if
I'm
you,
gonna
I think what I'm proving is I am very American. Sorry.
I'm going to say 1 point.
Okay.
1 point for Ethan.
Sweet, 1-0.
Okay. Do you have, Erica,
Mm-hmm.
a Manu Ginobili Spurs jersey? Do you know who Manu Ginobili
I do.
is?
Bryce is laughing in the
I do
background.
know.
Okay. Do you have a Lionel Messi jersey?
Not currently, but I have before.
Oh, okay. Okay. 5 points.
that- okay.
5 points.
That's fair,
Okay.
that's fair.
Going back to Ethan. Did you ever fight in the Revolutionary War?
Did not. Came close. But did not. I stayed home for that one.
Have you ever been to see the Liberty Bell in Pennsylvania?
I have not been to Pennsylvania.
No points.
Yeah.
You forfeit all points. Okay. Whew, last one.
Okay.
Last one. I don't know what the score is, but man, I'm just moving forward. In the last 48 hours, have you called anybody Che? Which I think means friend.
It does not.
It doesn't?
Jay is like, hey,
Oh, okay. Okay, let me start over then. Thank you for educating me in your culture, Erica. This has been such a meaningful time. Such a meaningful time. Have you said the word Che in the last 48 hours?
I don't think so, but I do say, oh my gosh.
Ay, ay, ay?
I say like when I'm upset, por favor.
Oh,
like,
nice.
all the time out loud. You can probably hear it.
Yeah, I've heard it.
Okay, this should be.
So-
This is a little bit of Americana for you, Ethan. Have you ever played jazz music on the bass?
No, I can't.
Okay.
Play. Okay. Stand by Me is not jazz, is it?
No,
Yeah,
this
that'd
would
be
be
the
like
closest thing.
because Okay, well,
I've seen La La Land about 7 times though, and I love it. Again, caveat: is there something I can get out of that?
Well, I'm just going to jump forward and say Erica wins because her grandma was asked out by Ronald Reagan. That's
fair.
because
So I
that
win
story.
being American.
Yes, you win. It's a total coup.
Which is totally just like urban legend in our family, but
Yeah.
I want to believe it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
That's good. I'd like just to segue now into what the podcast is going to
Sure.
look like. Like this is a really actually kind of an exciting time because there's lots of jokes on the internet, of like, why you shouldn't start a podcast. Like there's funny jokes, like, every 83 seconds there's a white middle class guy who says we should start a podcast, something like that. I love to ask the question is, why are we even having a podcast? Is it just for us to do inside jokes that nobody will care about and like laugh and hope everybody listen to, or what are we trying to do with this podcast?
Yeah, well, I mean, thankfully, like I can enjoy those memes now because we started this podcast just over 2 years ago now. But it actually started back in COVID. And it was just actually a result of some conversations where we were in some meetings at times and we were maybe unpacking something. We're like, man, this would be really cool for people at church to be able to hear more and kind of hear like an extended version of why we're doing what we're doing, or like we like to say at the top of each episode, what we believe in, why it matters, or what we value. Thank you.
That's the Foothill students.
There you go. That's exactly what we value and why it matters. And so truly it's just an opportunity to really unpack some of that stuff. It may be covering things that we're hearing or pushing within service on Sunday that you maybe hear announcements on, or just other topics that we just find are helpful, that there's not always the space for those. And
that is a tension, by the way, just from the stage at church. There's so many things we want to talk about at length with the church, but realistically we know we have so much time. And also, I mean, I've been honest, there's been times during announcements I've been bored, and there's been times I've been really excited during announcements, like, oh, I want to hear more about this thing, I want to hear about Ireland here, and we're like, okay, but it's time for the sermon or something like that.
And not that each episode is going to be an extension of announcements. That's not what we want, but our hope is, as you hear conversations on Footnotes, you can kind of make connections to other kind of things. Like maybe we're announcing something about an event coming up, and maybe we're not as a show talking about that event, but just through other through lines throughout our conversations, you can kind of make more and more connections to those.
So I guess we're not trying to make a podcast that is going really wide out to the world and trying to get millions of followers. Right. Erica, what would you say would be a success of this podcast? So as director of digital communications, you're trying to communicate to people digitally. What would you hope would be a win of this? What would that look like?
I mean, like you said, there's only a certain amount of time that we have on Sundays, and realistically, we want to engage with you guys throughout the whole week. And so this is part of the way that we want to do that, but also we want to help you guys in asking questions and helping you grow and take that next step in your relationship with Christ and in your growth as a Christian. And so even as we thought through, like, what do we want to talk about this season, a lot of it was like, even the way that we're approaching this is we're definitely not experts in theology. And I'll speak for myself. I am definitely not an expert. And so really the hope here is that we can bring in experts, people like Ike or like Katie Dubransky, who can speak and we can really glean from them in areas that they're really passionate about. And we can ask sometimes really dumb questions, but questions maybe that you guys are thinking of, so that it can kind of demystify this idea of, what does it look like to memorize scripture? What does it look like to be a Christian and engage with tech or software or whatever that is? So I think the goal would be not necessarily to reach far and wide, but really to engage with those who are here at Foothill in order to help you grow, to raise up more leaders in the church.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear that. I think of how when Jesus really helped start the church, and he passed it on to his disciples, and especially just like that, kind of challenge to Peter, like to be the rock, of the church. There's much more of a sense that life was much more communal, and the further we go in humanity, the more we try to make the world in our own image. We build our little castles with flat screens in every room. And it's like, oh, you're asking me to come out and bump shoulders with people. I'm kind of an introvert. Jessica and I were joking, like there's like FOMO, but it's like there's JOMO, the joy of missing out, right? But we kind of start moving this way. And I'm just very thankful to hear that there's a way that we can try to connect and engage and communicate ways that we can grow, but also just talk about the Christian life and connect a way where maybe you're driving to work in traffic along the 210 or the 10, horrible highways like that, or maybe while you're scrubbing a floor, with some cans on, like Bryce is wearing right now, or whatever, some AirPods. So yeah, just for us to be able to connect with you another way. I'm really excited about this. So for people who are hoping to engage, what can they expect as far as rhythms? Is this like 5 times a week? Is this once a month? It's like when we feel inspired, what should we expect?
Yeah, right now we're just kind of at an every other week cadence. Previously, Footnotes was every week, and maybe we'll get back to that. But right now, we're going to just, every other week, Monday mornings. The episodes will go live at 5 a.m. for you early risers.
All
right. So kicking it off on the 19th of September, and then from there on, every other week.
Got it.
Through about mid-December.
Today, September 19th.
Oh,
today.
So this
or
is
yesterday or last week, depending on when you're listening.
Depending on when you're listening to this.
With God,
maybe you're
time
listening in
fluid.
2024. You're in the future.
So this is the kickoff. Okay, that's great.
This is season 5 kickoff. Welcome to season 5, by the way, everyone.
That's pretty amazing, actually. Season 5, So here we are. Also, one thing that's a little bit different is there is a video component. Maybe you're just listening. That's great. I'm not saying you want to see us, but there's a sense of of communication that is not just auditory. We're communicating with our eyes and our hands. But I see there's an empty wall here. There's also a little bit of just kind of things in here. What's going on with the aesthetic here?
Well, as we mentioned, I think at the top of the episode, this used to be the principal's office for Foothill Christian School back in the day over at Grand Avenue.
Would Robert Bo Gutzweiler have been in here?
Yes.
This was his office.
Yes.
That's exciting.
So maybe some of you have been here before.
Maybe like it being in trouble or something. But that's where we're at. This is the original paneling. I actually don't know. Have any idea what year this is. This is real wood paneling though.
Can you tell the year by knocking?
But we have empty walls that honestly we will fill up eventually, but you'll fill it up with us. You will see a progression as we decorate. So join along as we fill the space.
That's good. One thing I like here, so this little guitar here is actually I don't know if it's in the shot. Over there. It's an ovation that a lot of guys sneer at because it has this really big hollow body. But I've taken this guy just around the world, many like just worship nights for years and years. My dad used to do prison ministry with this guy, and he'd also go into convalescent homes and literally like play and sing hymns over people. And they're like basically when they're like the last couple weeks of their life kind of thing. So it's just cool to see like a little bit of heart in this room. So let there be a lot of heart in this room. I hope whatever fills these empty walls, let it be. That'd be great.
Yeah, that's the goal.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is we need to approve everything through you before we put it on the wall.
Has it been a part of prison ministry?
Yeah.
Has it been in a convalescent ministry?
Okay, got it.
So tell me about some of the things we might talk about on this. Do we have any ideas or things you guys are excited to talk about down the road?
Yeah.
On this
yeah,
podcast?
I mentioned a few of those things. One of them is we're labeling Tech Talk. So we have a friend of the podcast and a fellow staff member who will come in, and he's just a brilliant mind about those things and talking about like how should we approach things like tech and things that might seem scary or daunting to us. Another thing that we're really excited about is talking about Bible scripture memorization and how important that is and how can we do that well and how do we tackle that. So there's a couple things. Anything else come to mind, Ethan?
We will hand the episode off to Brian. So I know Brian's excited about that.
Good.
But we'll even do a, just kind of throughout different seasons, even hit on church history. And so we'll actually talk about church reformation. And so Brian will hold the mic on that one. we'll have a guest there with him, and stuff like that. And so
It's
I'm
great,
actually,
but there's not really a place to talk about these things on a Sunday morning
Right.
or growth
Yeah.
group. There's not an expert there to talk about it at your growth group. So
Yeah.
this is a great medium for that.
yeah, and truthfully, I'm really excited. We want to do a Christmas episode and have some fun with that as well.
Good.
And so for those that aren't on YouTube or tuning in, you'll definitely want to tune in for that one and watch. So some fun, but also deep, rich conversations.
Yeah, so this should feel like family. Like we're hanging out at a table and talking about deep things, but also light things. I think those are the best kind of friendships, is when you could go from like very deep to very light, have a good laugh. And we just hope to kind of foster that culture. So yeah, I'm really excited to that. I guess just before we finish, I wanted people to give people an example of what, so we meet together, and also Pastor Chris comes to these meetings and we talk about some communications goals. I want to give people just an example of what that meeting might look like. So I have an agenda here.
Okay.
Just of some things that I want to talk about.
Really prepared.
So hey guys, welcome to the communications meeting.
Thanks.
I was just looking, I had the blessing to visit a couple of churches, and I went to a church called Mosaic. Very artistic name, known for their art. But I noticed their senior pastor had a very epic name, Erwin McManus. Chris Lewis is good, but Erwin McManus, what a name, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to, we just get some results, but maybe think of some ideas for changing Chris's name.
Well, I think the most obvious is C.S. Lewis.
Oh, that's right.
What
I don't think it's been done before, but it just sounds very astute, very knowledgeable name. So
Okay, that's a
I don't
good
know
idea.
I don't know what his middle initial is, but
I'll say Richard.
okay, so we should change it to S and C.S. Lewis.
I was thinking maybe more towards a lane, something like Zane Axelbright.
Zane
So Ethan, just your experience, how do you feel? Would that design well?
It would fit.
And what's your
on
capacity
our,
for that?
Slide.
Can we do that in 2 days?
Oh, we could do it in one. It would fit on our slide.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. That's good. Just second. I'm glad we can. Yeah, I'm glad we can move forward with that. If you need help, you can just reach out to Stephanie Martin.
That was very optimized. We
Yeah, that was optimized.
Nailed that.
Lastly, just Foothill Kids. That was good, but sometimes I was just thinking we could try to bring something visual to Foothill Kids with the name. Picture kids. That's great. But what about like snake stompers?
Snake stompers
For the kids.
Is this for all of the whole ministry, or is this like an age group?
It would be all ages.
Okay.
And
Snake stompers.
yeah, because like they're like crushing the enemy.
Right.
But hey, if it's not a good idea, guys, we can just move on.
Well,
I think
I'm even seeing a logo of like a snake and then a foot.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's very easy.
But
to
what kind of
understand.
sandal is the foot
Oh, it's a
wearing?
bare. It's a bare
It's a
foot.
bare foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like an actual bear, like grizzly.
No, like without shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, bear.
I think a
Yeah.
first time guest.
A barefoot would be powerful though, like the power of God.
Yes, yeah,
it's really
yeah.
strong.
Yeah, I think a first time guest will really understand what the ministry is about when
Yeah.
they hear snake stompers.
good.
They'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's where my kids go."
This is good. For the sake of time, I'm going to move on
Oh yeah.
and just let you close us out. But people, I just want you to feel the confidence of your team, and what we're doing is good work.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
glory to God.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks, Ike. Can we have the host reins back
You give it
now?
back.
I think I should.
Okay.
I think I should hand it back to
No,
you.
but that was actually really fun. Thank you for doing that. Hey everyone, thanks for watching episode 1 of season 5, episode 71 in total. We'll be back in a couple weeks. But until then, share this, subscribe if you're not already, leave a comment, leave a review. Tune in next one, and until next time, Foothill, peace be with you.
Ay, ay, ay.